everybody in the mobile app development course. In today's video we're going to take a look at broadcast receivers, and so you need to go to the website. Well, you know where the website is, I hope, at this point. And you're going to go to 453R class. You're going to go into examples, and I would just hit the date modified. Today's April 6th. This is for Tuesday's lecture. And you want to hit the one on the top that says broadcast receiver, and this is going to be one that's going to check the battery status for us. You can do a broadcast receiver to check for incoming calls, for text messages, for the state of the battery, low battery, charger connected, charger not connected, all sorts of different things. The battery seems to be a fun one. It's pretty easy to do, and it doesn't require any modifications to the Android manifest. So I'll show you how to do a background receiver, a broadcast receiver, on that one. Okay, so I took the liberty of starting up Android Studio, and I got my emulator running. So this should hopefully go smoothly. Start a new Android project, and go ahead and select the empty activity. And let's take a look here. I'm going to call this one battery example, battery checker, whatever you want to call it is fine. I recently updated my Android Studio, by the way. It should follow yours, though. It looks very similar to the old version. So if you might notice any little differences in my IDEs, because I just upgraded it. I shouldn't have clicked on the little button, but the little button came up. So would you like to upgrade? And I said sure. And then I noticed a few little changes in the look and feel of the IDE, but it's working the same. So actually, I think it works a little faster than my other one did, but we will definitely see that. I did notice that the bar on the bottom contains all the statuses instead of it being right here. But anyway, half a dozen or another. Okay, so the point of this example is to demonstrate how to create a background receiver. A background receiver is a service that hangs around in the background and gets started when things change or when an event occurs that it's listening for. So I'm going to go ahead and put the code in and then explain it as I come through. We're in the battery example. And if I click on the code, let me find that code. We need to add a class called battery checker, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to copy this code so I have it ready. So let's see, we got battery checker, what we're going to call it. So I'm going to go into File, New, and I'm just going to add a new, Android Studio. Okay, there we go. File, New. This is different. Hold on one second. I think it's because I clicked out of it. Who knows? Let's see, MainActivity. There we go. There we go. So I'm now where I'm supposed to be. File, New, Java class. See, I wasn't seeing all this before. It's because it was where I was clicked. It has a slightly different look to it. Maybe it's because I have the light mode on now instead of the dark mode. I don't know. But anyway, I'm clicking on the package where I want to stick the new class, which is going to be in my Java folder there. File, New, let's get to it. Java class. It doesn't really matter what I create. And it's going to be called battery checker, or call it whatever you want to call it. You just have to change it in the code if you change it there. And so it's in the package com.example.battery example. Just going to take that out, and I'm going to paste in the code and talk about the code for a moment here. This is a broadcast receiver, which is the intention of this example. So we're public class battery checker that extends broadcast receiver. So this is not an activity, it's a broadcast receiver. Broadcast receiver is a background service that lingers in the background and gets invoked when some event that it is listening on occurs. And so when the event occurs, and it's going to receive the event, there's an on-receive method of this life cycle. It's going to take the context, which is the currently running app, or the currently running app actually. And then via the intent, it's going to receive the event that occurred. So we're going to get a string, and the string is the data type. And we're going to call it action, and it's going to be intent.getAction. And if the action dot equals intent that the action that the power was connected, so somebody connected the power to the phone, do something when the power is connected. I don't know, we're just going to put some toast messages up there. So toast, to make a toast, power connected, and we're going to do a short little toast there and show it. Else, if the power is disconnected, so the action power disconnected, then we're going to say power disconnected. So we're going to pop up a toast message. Normally you would, if you disconnected the power got disconnected, and the app was running, the background broadcast receiver was there and it was working, you could have it do something, I don't know, shut the phone down, or I don't know, you can make a custom action occur when this particular event happens. Okay, so that's all the elaborate code in our broadcast receiver, which isn't really doing very much. It's going to send up a toast message to say, hey, I got the event. So the main method here, there's two ways of registering this broadcast receiver. You can go ahead and put it in the manifest. And if you look at some of the events that do occur, like receiving a text message or incoming telephone call, or I don't know, waiting to see if the phone is powering down or powering up, or in a moved location, you would stick permissions to see those events in the Android manifest. For some strange reason, the battery doesn't require, as of about API, 21 or something like that or above. You can check the battery all you want, and it doesn't require any permissions. But some of the other events do require permissions, so make sure you check ahead of time. And then you'll have to add the permission to the Android manifest. Just Google permissions for phone features. And then if we were going to run the intent manually, we would put the intent in the Android manifest. But we're going to do it a different way. We're going to do it from the MainActivity instead. So we're going to leave the manifest alone for this particular example, because I'm trying to make something that's easy for you. And instead we're going to go back to the example here, and I'm just going to copy and paste, stick this in my MainActivity, and show you what it did. It's just going to add, I don't really have to replace the whole thing, but I'm going to anyway, just because it's easier. All right, so if I put this code in here, let's go over this code here. The imports are pretty basic. It's the intent filter we're going to use with the broadcast receiver and the bundle. So MainActivity that extends app compact activity. This is the default activity type, but we're going to make it now an instance of a broadcast receiver and call it receiver. So this is the kind of the object reference that's going to keep track of our instance that we're going to make of the receiver. And then on the onCreate, we're going to call this method at the end called configure receiver. And the method actually follows right here. Could have stuck this code in the onCreate, but it's a little easier to kind of see it when the only thing that belongs in the onCreate is a call to this method. And so the call to this method, what is this method doing? Well, it's manually creating an intent filter, calling it filter, which is equal to a new intent filter. So we have an instance of a new intent filter. And the filter, we're going to add some actions to it. The actions we're going to add is the battery checker. The battery checker is our receiver. And we're also going to add the action power disconnected and the action power connected. So all three of these items can communicate with each other because they're all added to the intent filter. They're all aware of each other. Okay, and so the broadcast receiver is going to be equal to a new battery checker, Well, the new battery checker is the broadcast receiver we just created. And then we're going to register the receiver to the filter and the intent filter. So we register the receiver. It's listening. When it gets registered, you can unregister it as well, but we're going to register at this moment so that it can listen to the intent filter and process the intent that's occurring. We know that battery checker here can process the action, or it can work with the filter, is aware of the intent action power disconnected and action power connected. These items here can alternatively go into the manifest. And if you go online and you Google broadcast receiver, 99.9% of all of the tutorials you're going to see are going to have you put it in the manifest. I don't really like that approach, but if you like that approach, go ahead and do it. It's pretty easy. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see it done in the manifest. Why? Not sure why. Half the time it doesn't work either. So I'm not. The manifest can be a little buggy depending upon the API version that you're working with. I think this is a little bit more reliable. I would prefer putting it actually in the source code. But yeah, I thought I'd show you in the source code because 99.9% of all the other examples out there are showing you in the manifest. So if you want to see it in the manifest, then just go Google it and you're going to run all into it. You're never going to see it done this way. You're always going to see it done in the manifest. Although I am seeing more people do it this way. So, all right, so let's test it. And so I'm going to run it. I have the Pixel 3. I think I have it running right now, actually. So the Gradle is building and running. So all we changed was the main activity, and we also added the battery checker. I got the Gradle building it here. Let's see, we got the emulator here. This is the first time I'm building it, so it's gonna it's gonna take a little bit of time, not too much time. I do see after I upgraded my status on the bottom. So I don't know, I probably could put it back. Looks like I got a few configuration changes, but it looks like installed successfully. I do like this little green thing that came up, which is good. All right, so we didn't do anything in the main activity, so it's probably gonna say hello world or something, or yep, it does say hello world up here, and it says battery example. Okay, so our app doesn't really do anything, but there's a background receiver in there. So if I click on the little 3 buttons here, and I click on battery up here, so you can simulate things to the phone. For example, you can actually where's the phone? Here's the phone. You can call the device. Watch this one. Oh, there we go. We're gonna call the device right now. I'm gonna decline the call. Looks like this was a 650-555-1212. Let's decline that guy. My app's still running. All right. I can check for the cellular service. I can change the signal strength. Where's the battery? Here's the battery. So the battery says that the charger connection is none. Well, I'm going to say the AC charger. And if I put it on an AC charger, you saw it from me. Maybe I should have made that a long one. I'm going to switch it back to none, which means I disconnected it. It says power disconnected. So look down here where my mouse is scrolling. This is where the broadcast receiver is picking up the event. So the AC charger, the power is connected, and then it's not connected. Power is disconnected. Power is connected. It seems to be trying to make a noise there too. There we go. Power disconnected. Power connected. Now the battery status, I didn't put an event in for the status of the battery, but you could put it in. Is it charging? Is it discharging? So you could make an app actually here that just checks to see, this is just setting up a toast message, but it could, turn something else off, turn something on, or do something on this particular event. Oh, look, it can change the battery level too. So if the battery gets down way low, you can check for that event. And then you can, I don't know, put up a message that says, hey, your battery's getting low. I think you should plug the phone in. So this is simulating an AC charger being connected to the phone When the emulator receives that event, the broadcast receiver is putting up the little toast messages at the bottom of the screen to let us know that the event was captured. So that's really what a broadcast receiver does. It receives events and it processes them. And so in a nutshell, it's a pretty simple concept. It runs in the background. It is a service. The last time I just showed you a regular service that just played music. This one only invokes and only works when a particular event is received. And this one here is the AC charger event. So it's not going to do anything on the camera or on the location or any of the other events that might occur. So go ahead, play around with it. You can create all sorts of different receivers. Oh, that's a snapshot. Wow. You can simulate all sorts of different types of events that occur on the phone through the emulator. You can actually just load it on a real phone as well, plug in and plug out. You'd have to actually connect the charger on the real phone to see that behavior work. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and that is in a nutshell what a broadcast receiver does. So that concludes our demonstration on broadcast receivers. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time for another video.